Good afternoon. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 11:50 a.m. KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. It's my joy to be on the air. And I want to thank all our supporters and also the Virtuous Healing Circles that are supporting Mother's show right now. And we got a lot of exciting things coming up in the future. And today, my guest is going to come on around 2:20. From Oakland, Rashidah Granger. She's going to be talking about police issues there. And I just want to talk a little bit of, first off, to talk about the Justice Department and the things they're doing around the country. And one of the things that they're doing is that they will be opening up an investigation in Memphis, looking at the Memphis Police Department after the Tyree Nichols brutalizing there, and that led to his death. So many officers have been charged. 5 has been charged. 2 more will be charged. One person did instead of getting fired, he retired. It's a tragedy that has happened in Memphis, and it's still unfolding. That they will be looking at the practice. I look like a pattern in practice there of violence there in Memphis. I mean, you could just look at the video. They're going to examine the police training. I always want to look at training, data and processing relating to the use of force, de-escalation, and specialized units. They've always had some specialized units, like the SWAT team specialized. This have special training, the detective units, but these specialized units is considered like jump out units. They had one of those here in Seattle at one time. I mean, doing the gang unit, they were similar many years ago. I don't think, they haven't had that in a while. But also, they have them. They had them in Los Angeles too, and other places. And they drive around in unmarked cars. They do a lot of stops and searches, and usually these specialized units are deployed in areas where sometimes there's high crime or around a lot of drug activity or gang activity. So far, I mean, they might do a lot of arrests in the past, but they haven't really solved the problems. The problem about gangs have not been solved. I mean, it started in Los Angeles and spread it across the country. In fact, it's amazing that when they decided to take out the Panthers, they did that in 18 months. And the gangs has been allowed to stay for like 40 years. So there have never been a real concerted effort to actually help the community get rid of gangs in their community. In fact, some communities was incentivized to actually have gangs, to identify young people that might be involved with gangs, and we know that happened here in Redmond and other places that they would have police officers look around, and a lot of times when young people had on had the hats on backwards and then had on their Raiders jackets. We caught the police outside of my door taking pictures of young people a while ago and put them in the FUR report, whether they were gang members or not. So that's always been COINTEL going on in a lot of departments and things like that. So anyway, but I'm glad to know that they're going into Memphis, and hopefully the DOJ will go all the way and make sure that when they leave, you're going to have a better police department, not one that's almost in shambles like Seattle, with all the other things that's going on. Although the DOJ didn't have anything to do with the leave, but all police officers leaving in 2020, that was mainly a city function and the city council function on that led to a lot of officers leaving, and also the former police chief retiring because of wanting to actually a lot of disrespect went on with Chief Carmen Best and the way that she was treated by the council. Never did invite her in to let her talk about her vision of reimagining policing. So anyway, I'm glad that that's happening with the DOJ. Hopefully, they'll come out with a better police department. But I've been studying Memphis for a while because every day I get the alerts from Memphis because there's a lot of um, there's a lot of violence in Memphis. It might be a lot of high employment. I'm looking into that. But also, there's been quite a few deaths in custody. I think it was almost 10 last year. And now I think there's going to be an investigation of the jail and to find out what's happening in the jail. And of course, some of what the DOJ is looking into might go into that. And also, Memphis have a citizen review board, and I will be investigating and reporting on how much power that they have, how long they've been around, and how effective they are. Because I just to see if they made recommendations and if the police department accepted the recommendations, and to see if any of those and then if those recommendations was ever implemented. Because if you can make the recommendations, if they don't implement the recommendations and train on the policies, then there'll be no discipline. And that's really what happens sometimes. You can make recommendations, and even sometimes when they accept the recommendation, they might not get around to training. And what we know is that if the officer is not trained to the policy, or if the policy have not been updated, then there will be no discipline, and not only here in Seattle, but across the country. So those are the things that make people real upset. When you talk about police accountability, people get upset when officers are not disciplined. And these are some of the loopholes why they're not disciplined, is because if the training is not updated, or if the training is not, if the officer has not been trained to the new policy. And that's why this so-called training is so important, because if the recommendation was an update of the training, and that came in 2022, and maybe by 2023, the officer had not been trained to the new policy, this is just an example, then if there was an incident, there would be no discipline because the officer had not been trained to the new policy. These are all the things that's happening. Also, the DOJ actually also went into Louisville. I mean, after Breonna Taylor with the no-knock warrant. And these are the things that they're looking at, because the no-knock warrant, that was like a special unit also that went into her apartment, and she was murdered there, so that investigation, and after that, that's why they're moving on to Memphis. There's some real disparity and defining. There's a pattern of violence in Louisville. Is what they found. And it's amazing that the Attorney General, the Attorney General of the state of Kentucky, he tweeted out a tweet recognizing the fine officers of the state of Kentucky, and not having a comment. You might have fine officers, but as long as fine officers stand by and let other officers harm one another, harm citizens who might have been a suspect of a crime. And being a suspect of a crime, I mean, that individual needs to be arrested and booked into the jail constitutionally without any harm. That's what it should be like. And so, but it looked like they had a pattern of violence in Louisville. And I don't know what the remedy is because I didn't read that yet. But I know that the no-knock warrant has been eliminated, and I think at least that was one of the things that was eliminated here in Washington State too, I believe, and that didn't get rolled back. A lot of the gains that was gained in 2021 here in Washington State got rolled back this year. I mean, because the police lobbies and the chiefs and sheriffs and all the people, all of the people in law enforcement, they organized and they got some of the laws rolled back. One of the things that we know for sure, if that once a law is passed, you can't go home and I think you won, because the other side is going to be organizing. And I think that didn't happen in 2021. So I'll be reporting again on Louisville and also Memphis as this roll along. like I say, I get alerts every day from Memphis, and Memphis is very complicated. 58% of the police officers there is Black. So this is going to come out to be a Black Black issue. And it seems like it's an awful lot of crime there. It's an awful lot of crime everywhere right now in America. It's not only there, it's a lot of crime everywhere in America. So anyway, Memphis can't be singled out as a city that's having a lot of crime right now. I mean, it's a lot of people that are bored, and sometimes when people get bored, they don't have anything else to do. So actually, they go out and do mischief, and unfortunately, that mischief hurts other people. So I'm going to start with that right now, but I want to spend the rest of my 7 minutes before the break talking about Black History Month. I mean, Women's History Month, because this is Women's History. And I want to just talk a little bit about the Washington State Heritage, Black Heritage Society. I'm going to invite Mrs. Tolliver on. She's the president of that fine organization. Been around for a while, and it's a lot of good things that they're doing. Actually, they're chronicling our history, chronicling our history. And one of the persons who was instrumental in setting that up, I want to talk a little bit about, mention her name. Her name is Esther Mumford, and Esther Mumford is someone that I've been knowing for a long time. She's an author, she's a historian, and she did a lot of projects about Black history, and then she's written quite a few books about history and about Black people, especially in Seattle, Washington. So it's like, wow. So this is so cool. And just a little bit about Esther Mumford. Let me just get this up here. Her name is Esther Hall Mumford, and she's been living in Seattle for many, many years. And like I say, she's a historian. She was a founding member of the Black Heritage Society of Washington State that was organized in their home in 1977, I should say. But that's almost like Dr. Mims when she organized the Evergreen College campus, Tacoma Branch, in her kitchen. So it's a lot of things that happen in the kitchen in our community, and so this is what happened. This is how the Black Heritage Society was organized here in Washington State, and Mrs. Mumford was involved with that, and one of the books that she's written was the Black Victorians. It's a must read. It's about the Black history in Seattle, Washington, and what happened here. She did an oral project. She interviewed many people here, and it's still considered the central area, but it's not as prominent with African Americans or descendants of enslaved human beings as it was when I came in 1970. A lot of it has been gentrified like a lot of other places across America. But we do have people here like Joaquin Garrett and other people who drew a line in the sand to say that we weren't moving anywhere, and they've been actually successfully putting up housing to be able to bring people back. And there's a lot, new businesses are coming back. But this book is vintage. It's early on. It's early on about the in the late 19th century about what happened to Black socialites here. And one of the things one reason why I know about this book, because part of the history of Seattle was Salisbury photography. And that was my former husband and myself. We moved up from Santa Barbara, California in 1975 to open up a photography studio. And we did. Salisbury photography. It lasted for a few years, but not almost 5 years. And we were blessed to be the photographer. Mr. Salisbury was the photographer to reproduce all of the Black photos, the older photographs, and to restore them that's part of the the book that Mumford wrote. And yeah, so anyway, it was really wonderful to work on that book. The Black Victorians. This from 1852 to 1901. And then that book is going to be something about William Gross, who actually brought the property, the 12 acres that was first consisted of the central area. And then sometimes people used to call it the CD, the colored district. So if you're in Seattle, and if you're not in Seattle, I mean, that book it's still available. It's called Vintage Seattle, the Black Victorians. Victorians is a must read. And Miss Mumford is a great historian. I mean, she's done a lot of work here in Seattle, and just a delight to talk to about history. And I plan to get her on my show here sometime in the near future. And just a wonderful collection of all kinds of great history books. I mean, it's just amazing when you see people who actually love history and has done so much with the history. And the Black Media Studio, I mean, that the Black pictures that they have in there, it's come from the Black Heritage Society, and they chronicle. It's a chronicle of the history of Seattle, and it is delight. Our history is still going on, and so I wanted to just mention Esther Hall Mumford as one of the champions of Black women history and the work that she's done here in Seattle. So, and we'll be talking about Black women and Black history the whole year, because it's not going to go away, contrary to what the governor of Florida wants. It's not happening. So I'm going to take a break right now. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. I'll be right back. Thank you.
The Mother's Justice Show is brought to you by H.G. Walden and the Virtues Healing Circles. Join us for Wisdom and Wellness with Reverend Walden, a monthly virtual and in-person healing circle that focuses on community healing and growth. Learn more at virtueshealing.com. That's virtueshealing.com. Also, be sure to join our healing group on Facebook. Again, visit us at virtueshealing.com today.
Every 2 minutes, a child becomes a victim of sex trafficking in the U.S. It's happening right now. Don't turn off the radio or change the channel. Don't cover your kids' ears, no matter how much you want to ignore it. Child trafficking is real. In fact, it's happening in your town. And you know what our greatest weapon against child trafficking is? It's our children. It's time to act with PACT. That's Partners Against Child Trafficking. PACT works to teach students how to identify the warning signs of child trafficking so they can help other vulnerable kids around them. PACT student ambassadors receive in-depth training on the issue and design a project to raise awareness, reduce victimization, and disrupt demand. Visit pact.city to start donating today. That's pact.city. And for as little as $5 a month, you can help end child exploitation.
Hi, this is Dr. K. Mahina Intron, inviting you to tune in on Mondays on 1150 KKNW at 5 p.m. to Dr. K's Attuning to Your Abundance, where we honor everyday abundance through positive messages, poetry, music, affirmations, and writing exercises. For more information, contact Dr. K Workshops at gmail.com or Facebook, Dr. K's Abundance.
Good afternoon. You listen to the Mother's Justice Show at 1150 AM KKNW. Sometimes you need a little Aretha to jazz it up. You know, you got to get jazzed up when you're doing this. So I'm jazzed up. My guest that I was waiting on has not been able to appear at now. So radio does go on. So I'm going to continue to just talk a little bit more about Black history. I mean, about women history. And one of the persons that I was going to mention when my guest came on today was Mary Powers. Mary Powers, and she started the Citizen Alerts. there in Chicago, and that's where Rashidah and I met many years ago doing this work. Uh, I met her there, and I just talked to her a few minutes ago, not too long ago, and we were going. She was saying she wasn't feeling too good, but she was going to get on. So, okay, thanks, thank you. Yeah, but I guess it's just coming on. Hey, Aretha always jazzes up for you. Right. All right. How you doing, Rashida?
I've been better, but I'm trying to hang in.
Oh, well, thank you so much. So I was just doing my ad lib here, just a minute here, because that's what happens when you're on Zoom. You just keep going. But how are you doing right now?
Well, we're rocking and rolling down here. We have, I'm sure you've heard about the rain.
Yes, and the snow, and the rain. Yes. Yeah.
So we're waiting for another round tomorrow.
Wow. So
crazy. It's crazy.
Well, yeah, they said 18 million people was affected. That's what they said on. I love the weather. I mean, let me just say this. I love watching the Weather Channel when they're talking about weather events, but I understand that weather sometimes bring problems and sometimes it can bring joy. And right now, it's bringing problems to California. With the drought that you've had for many years, this is over. This is overflow and no place for it to go.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and so Oakland has snow too. Did Oakland get a lot of snow or just the rain?
No, we don't really have anything that high.
Right. Mm-hmm.
No.
Wow. Well, they said 18 million people, and they kind of measured like what the rain was needed at one point, but how it's just a runoff. I mean, some of the reservoirs they still get full, but some of them won't. So
and then there's a dam that broke also in Monterey County. Right. And that's where a lot of the migrant farm workers live. And they've been completely flooded. The whole town.
Wow. And that also that the growing season is going to be hampered.
Yeah, absolutely.
Growing season is going to be happening. Well, I tell you, I'm sure it's going to be considered a national disaster, and you'll get that declaration of whatever that means from the government to be able to get help on the ground immediately. But I did see where the National Guards had been called out to actually dig people out the snow. You had some people snowed in, couldn't even get out.
Yep. Yeah, in the Sierra. Yeah, that they've had snow up to the roof, and around Lake Tahoe also.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Wow. I mean, you're talking about having cabin fever, and for myself, I'd be having claustrophobia. It's like, oh my God, can't get out of here. Yeah. So I'm glad that people are on it, and I know that it's causing a heartbreak, and it's going to render a lot of people homeless again. To add to the people who are already out there who needing a home. So anyway, it just seems like we got a lot of, and then it was a nor'easterner that went all the way up to the East Coast. I mean, this weather starts on the West Coast mainly. I mean, coming out of the Fraser Valley, out of Canada, down through Washington State, and then across wherever. But this time, it just went down to California because we got some rain and snow, but we didn't get anything that we might have gotten if it hadn't went to you guys. So it went to Oregon and then to California. So I'll sending good wishes, and that Mother Earth is, we know that she's in a turmoil, and she's just saying, "Hey, I'm still here," and we're gonna have to look at and give her some real care. So I know that that's what people are thinking, and I know that the Native Americans are really thinking about the land because they still have that real connection to the land, as a lot of other people don't have that connection to the land as the Native people have always had.
Stuff like that. That is true.
Yeah. So this is a Women History Month, and I just want to give you a little. I just want to give the community to know that I'm talking that my guest is a woman of history. I mean, she's been doing this work for 30 years. We met in Chicago under unfortunate situations. You know that you know you have had family. You're impacted family by police violence. That you know left you a widow, and I think you also your son was also harmed there, and you've been doing this work for a decade, for a generation, and so you're one of these, and I don't know what you were doing prior to that the horrible event that happened to your husband and family. But I don't know. I think you mentioned that your husband was a musician. Was that right?
Yeah, he was a bassist for Odetta for about 5 years.
Odetta?
Uh-huh.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, and Dr. Maxine Mims, who lives here in Seattle, that just turned 95. Odetta was one of her friends.
Yeah, that's how I met him. I was living in Tokyo at the time, and he was touring with Odetta, and that's how I met him.
Oh wow! Wow. Well, maybe when we go to break, I mean, Eric might be able to find something about the music by Odetta. Oh yeah, but she was a lifelong friend with Dr. Maxine Mims. Her and Maya Angelou was friends with Dr. Maxine Mims. Yeah, so she started the Evergreen campus, Tacoma campus here in her kitchen in Tacoma, and she turned 95 on the 4th of January. I mean, the 4th of March. But you know, you've been doing this work, and I didn't know that's how you met your husband. Yeah. Wow. Did you play music too? Are you a musician, or you were just enjoying the music?
Not really. I just love music, and I play a little guitar, but that's about it, and nothing to speak of. But my sons are musicians, and so they take after him.
Wow. Wow, and I know you fought your case for many, many years, and you have stayed working with impacted families. I mean, I think that's the word they use now in Washington State, and I think it's a conference, and people get together and they make friends around the country because they have a lifelong bond of people who've been affected by police misconduct and unconstitutional policing. So. I mean, I would put you. I wanted to acknowledge you as a. You know, you didn't search for this work. This work was dropped in your lap. That's what you know.
That is a club that none of us ever chose to belong to.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. And you know, sometimes I'm wondering. Well, you know, some people look like they're the ones who gets things going. Because some people never get out of never recover enough to be of service for the world. I mean, because their sorrow is so deep and so profound that some people can never be of service for the world, but they still suffering. But when you can move through your suffering and become of service to the world, and that's what you did. You were able. I mean, and it's not easy to move through suffering. It's not. I mean, especially when you have a government against you, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so I just want people to know about you, the work that you've done, and that because we met in Chicago, and in those days we had Van Jones, didn't we?
Indeed, some of us remember him when he was scruffy.
Yeah, don't we? And I always tell people, had they vetted him, they would not have hired him in that position because we knew him when he was scruffy, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, he was the speaker when I first joined Pueblo in '94. He was the speaker at our dinner, and he was pretty scruffy.
Yes, he was. When he came to Chicago, he was scruffy.
Yeah.
You know, Mary Powers had a way of inviting people in. And you know what? She, you know, we're going to lift her up here too as this Women History Month here because she did a lot for us. I mean,
absolutely.
She brought us together.
Yeah.
And she did it with grace and style, and a love for people. I mean, I like for people to know that Mary Powers was a suburban housewife. She was a Caucasian woman. She went to the apartment building where Fred Hampton was shot, and then when she went there, she recognized that most of the bullets came from the inside. I mean, from the outside, and that the story that the FBI and the people were saying was not a true story. And she started Citizens Alert, and that's where we met at. We met there, doing that work. But I wanted you to be on the show today to talk about what you're working on currently. Down that Oakland is always in the news, isn't it? It's all,
my goodness.
not quite as bad as Memphis. Now Memphis is going to make us cry. I tell people,
Unbelievable.
Memphis is going to make us cry. 58% of the officers are Black officers, and Martin Luther King lost his life there, trying to get decent jobs for the sanitation workers. And now they got decent jobs, and look what happened. So anyway, Memphis is going to make us cry, but Oakland keeps the show going. So just wanted to give an update so you can talk to us about Oakland.
Well, we lost our chief. The newly elected mayor, fired the chief because it came to light that he basically underplayed or covered up some mischief from one of the officers and let him off, basically. This officer, when he was at home in San Francisco, but he was driving a patrol car, he hit a Mercedes in the parking lot where he lived. And then he ran. He never reported it. And the city found out because the insurance company for the car he hit called the city of Oakland because they saw from the video surveillance that it was a city of Oakland car.
Wow.
And that's how they found out what this guy had done.
Wow.
Then he lied about it and said that he didn't remember hitting it, even though the video shows him stopping for 3 or 4 seconds and then just taking off. So the guy lied. The same officer shot his gun in an elevator in the police building. And then he realized that the casing was incriminating, so he picked it up and threw it over the bridge, the Bay Bridge.
Are we talking about the same officer or his twin or his double? Really?
This is really, and this same officer was making $500,000, most of it overtime, because he was working in Chinatown and operating a drone. That, we had a lot of Asian hate crimes in Chinatown, and so they beefed up the security. So he got all that overtime working in Chinatown, and I believe that is why the chief just swept it under the rug. He tried to, but unfortunately, it leaked out, and the federal monitor ordered an independent investigation and found that the chief was not credible, and the mayor fired him.
Well, how long had the chief been there? Because he replaced it this time.
Patrick, yeah.
So, yes.
Yeah, he's been there for a couple of years. He's a homegrown Black man. His wife is also on the command staff, and it hit a lot of Black people very hard, and it created quite a backlash. And there were town hall meetings and public press meetings, people demanding that he be reinstated, and that isn't happening.
Well, why would they want him to be reinstated when he violated the rules and covered it up?
Because he's a Black man who comes from Oakland.
You know what? I mean, our chief got ran out. She retired And she was disrespected, but it wasn't. She didn't do any cover up. They just didn't. Actually, the BIPOC people just they didn't like her. They never invited her in to talk about her idea of reimagining policing. And so she wound up retiring. So wow. But I don't know how you can uphold stuff when the laws has been broken like that.
Yep, I agree.
500,000 is a lot of money, and then to pick up the casing and throw it over the bridge. That's like the Tallahatchie Bridge. It's a country song about something. They threw something off the Tallahatchie Bridge there in Mississippi.
Yep, wow. I remember
that
the song. Yeah, I do.
We're telling how long we've been on the planet, but that's okay. It's a blessing. It's a blessing to be on the planet. So you're in the process of you'll be in the process of hiring a new chief.
Yep, they're going to have to do another search, and the police commission has to identify 4 candidates that they present to the mayor, and she has to choose from one of those 4 candidates that they present.
So this is your police commission. Okay.
Yep.
So is this the same commission, like sort of like ours, the community police commission, or your other commission?
Yeah, this commission has the power to hire and fire, not hire, but identify candidates for the mayor's consideration.
Yeah. That's what we were part of. We were part of the search committee for the way that the ordinance is here. When there's a search, somebody from the commission is part of the search for the police chief, and so we were part of that search. Yeah. Wow.
So it was a big deal here because there was a huge backlash, partly because a lot of these same people didn't vote for the mayor who won. They voted for an African-American candidate who lost by fewer than 1,000 votes.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of it was connected to that. They were angry that their guy didn't become the mayor, and they took it out on the new mayor, who is an Asian woman. So it became very racial, and it didn't really have anything to do with police accountability. They just wanted to give this guy a pass because he was a homeboy.
Well, hey, I can understand that. I mean, I don't understand it, but I think we've had this sort of the same thing in reverse here. I mean, now it's coming out that they said that some of the phone calls, that some of the text messages wasn't saved as they should have been during the chop and the stuff that was going on here in Seattle, and they identifying to say some of those messages that was between the police chief and the mayor they could not reconstitute those messages. So I don't know what all is happening about that.
Sounds like the FBI and the Secret Service in Washington.
Well, one thing about these things is that when the FBI want to find something on somebody else's phone or computer, they can find it, can't they? even though it might look like it's been looks like they might have erased it, they can always find it. So
yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I tell you, Oakland just seems to just have it's always in the news on some level. I mean, it might not make big always news, but so the monitor was still there. So the monitor has never just really pulled out then. Is that right?
Well, that's the whole point, is that we were very close to being able to get out from under federal oversight. We were actually in a sustainability period, which is kind of like probation.
Mm-hmm.
And we were supposed to be, scheduled to get out from under this thing this year. And now the whole thing has got set back. So now the judge has asked the mayor to come back in April with a plan for how she intends to get the city out from under this thing, how she intends to get the police department under control and acting properly. So the mayor has been having meetings with the police command staff and the police commission and the inspector general and the city attorney, and they're supposed to be coming forward with a plan for how to fix this thing, which they haven't been able to do for 20 years.
That's right, for 20 years, over $36 million, and the cost keeps going. So what is the Oakland police union saying?
Oh, they don't care. It doesn't bother them.
they don't plan to do right, no way.
Exactly. It does no skin off their back at all. They're plugging along, collecting overtime. It's the city that has to pay the monitoring. Over $1 million. Yeah.
Wow. And to think one officer this officer who should have been fired. I mean, that meant that this officer never slept to make $500,000 over overtime.
Exactly.
I mean, so he must have never slept.
Yep.
How can you work only your 8-hour shift, and then sometimes it's sometimes they might be working 12 hours. I don't know, but how can you do that and then rack up that much overtime? I mean, it's almost impossible. It's like I don't understand that.
Yeah, wow. They were a lot of people in the community were screaming about how much the independent monitor makes every year. This guy made half his salary.
Well, yeah, but the monitor don't have a weapon on him.
Exactly, and not only that.
The monitor, that's right. Go ahead.
The monitor reports to the judge. He doesn't report to the city. Mm-hmm. So if the judge is not satisfied with his performance, the judge can fire him.
That's right.
But we had people here in this town blaming him, saying all this is his fault, and he just wants to keep us under this consent decree forever so he can keep making money.
Well, so you have the black people who are going down one road about this, and then the other people that's talking about that. So wow, this is real interesting dynamics right now.
It really is.
It really is interesting dynamics because it's like nobody is having any clarity. If you shot your weapon off in the elevator and you picked up your casing and you threw it away, you didn't file a complaint because it was a use of force. You discharged the weapon. It should have been a report filed on that. It should have been a report. So how many other times did he discharge his weapon and did not make a report? I mean, people don't see this correlation between when they miss doing something. How many times have they missed doing that before? And how has that led to an arrest or harm of a citizen?
Right. And how many times has he gotten a pass, which is what happened in this case? He got a pass from Internal Affairs. They told the guy working his case to reduce the discipline to something like a reprimand or something instead of being suspended or fired. And the chief signed off on it. And that's why he got in trouble.
What? So the chief filed signed off on it. Now, did the inspector general have anything to say about this case, or did it just went on back to the courts? The inspector general never got any of the documents, any of the evidence, any of the investigative records at all. The city hired an outside firm to do That's right. They got an outside firm to do that. So how did they go about getting an outside firm? So who leaked it to the how did the monitor find out though about this case?
Because one of the plaintiff's attorneys found out, and I think it was because somebody in the department leaked it.
Okay, because the way that this sounds like right now, this would have been a closed case here unless somebody leaked that scene.
Exactly. He almost got away with it. But somebody had it in for this guy, Michael Chung, and they leaked it to one of the plaintiff's attorneys. And he told the monitor. And that's when all hell broke loose. Because the chief signed the downgraded discipline And he claimed that he hadn't read the whole thing, and he just, he assumed that it had been done properly, and he didn't, research it himself.
Well, but then how many times did the police chief sign off on something that he hadn't read?
Exactly.
Oh, no. I mean, really and truly. So it sounds like we want to have we want to have one set of rules when the chief is another way, another ethnicity, and another set of rules. And maybe people say that's how it's always been. I mean, it's always been the other way. I mean, all the grace was given to maybe a white police chief, and never to a black police chief. So I mean, so you talk about that kind of discrepancy. Then the other side want their day in court too. They want their guy to stay, even if the guy is not doing what's right. Isn't that amazing?
Yep, absolutely. We're back to square one.
Right. And that's what's so bad about this. And Seattle wants to come from under the consent decree too. I mean, I think they're moving in that direction. But you know, one thing about it, Rashidah, is that if I was going around as a consultant, I would say, unless it's gross, I mean, although the kids that brought it to your community was gross, I mean, like what's happening in Memphis. But a lot of times you're not going to get what you want from the DOJ.
That's true.
You don't always get, because sometimes they don't always use everything they can in their arsenal to actually straighten up a police department.
Actually, this one is not the DOJ. This was a voluntary agreement that the city made with the plaintiff's attorneys. So it's overseen by a federal judge and a monitor.
And not the DOJ.
Not the DOJ.
Oh, federal judge. It's the same judge. It can't be the same judge. Is it the same judge that started out with this?
No, that judge retired. That was Thelton Henderson. He retired, and now we have Boric.
Okay. Because I one thing here, I think this federal judge wants to retire too, and always is a DOJ coming to town. And that the one discrepancy is most people, when they want police accountability, they want the police shootings to go down. And in Albuquerque and in other places where they've been, the shootings did not go down. And I think there's a disconnect from what the people want and what you get from the DOJ.
Yeah. Well, I will say in Oakland, the shootings have gone down. That is one true thing. Right.
Okay. Well, that's good. I mean, that's really good, because in Seattle, I mean, we've had, some have been, sometimes when it was a mentally person in a mental crisis, but most of them was, officer involved shooting for other reasons. So, but one bad shooting takes you back to square one.
That's true.
That's it. So we got a few more minutes here left before our time is up. But I just want us to reminisce about those good days in Chicago before we go. I mean, they got a lot of groups doing this issues now, but we had such great times and we got a lot of work done, didn't we?
Absolutely. And that was that was before police accountability was even a thing. I mean, people just, it wasn't a thing. Nobody talked about it.
Well, we just did the work, and other people came and, we talked about it a little bit, but they came in that, because Mothers was using that on our literature, but other people came, we kicked the door open, but they got paid.
Always the case.
They walked through the door of getting paid, but we kicked the door down. And one of my attorneys has been with me forever. One of the things one of the things she says that other people will admit, that litigation doesn't change policy. What changed policy is the community. Grassroots organizers change policy, not litigation, because there's a gag order that comes with litigation.
Absolutely, and litigation never has changed policy.
No.
I mean, that's why we're still under this damn consent decree for 20 years. The litigation obviously did not change the behavior, right. At least in many cases. It's true that shootings went down, but we still have all kinds of other mischief going on. We've got sexist Instagram scandals and all kinds of other, disreputable behavior.
Right, right. And the only thing that does that is grassroots organizing, putting the pressure somewhere. And so, I just really like to commend you and us because we did good work. We had the National Police Accountability. We met every year. We met in other cities. I mean, we met. We met about the black people who's getting lynched in the Mississippi jails. I mean, we met about so many things. They first used the pepper spray and all of that stuff that came out of our work in Chicago that we did with the late Mary Powers. She was 92. She did this work until she was 92.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Yeah, she was a real work engine. She just kept pushing.
She did, and then she was instrumental in Byrd being arrested for torturing all of those confessions out of people there in Chicago with Amnesty International. I mean, that level of work is not going on now. I mean, it really isn't. I mean, at that high level. I mean, people get involved around police issues, but our work was ongoing around around police shooting, but our work was also more than that than just that. It was a lot of other issues that we worked on. So anyway, I'm not going to Chicago for NACOL in the winter. I mean, I guess the conference is going to be there. If it was in Florida, I might have said yes, but I'm not going to NACOL conference in Chicago.
I hear that.
They're not in Chicago. Not in the winter. That they are coming off of Lake Michigan. Not me. No. Not me. But let's get together this summer. Let's plan a trip, or maybe I can come to Oakland, do my show in Oakland.
All right.
And we can just get together and don't take that much to get to Oakland. So
sounds good. Sounds good.
I appreciate you. And maybe I don't know if Eric found anything by Odetta, but if he did, he'll play it for us as we say goodbye. So thank you so much. Thank you. You've been listening to the Mother's Justice Show. You're welcome. You listen to the Mother's Justice Show at 11:50 a.m. KNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. It's my joy to be on there. I'll see you next week. Take care. Be safe. Thank you.
The Mother's Justice Show is brought to you by H.G. Walden and the Virtues Healing Circles. Join us for Wisdom and Wellness with Reverend Walden, a monthly virtual and in-person healing circle that focuses on community healing and growth. Learn more at virtueshealing.com. That's virtueshealing.com. Also, be sure to join our healing group on Facebook. Again, visit us at virtueshealing.com today.